Okay, so we have a system of equations here that we are asked to solve by graphing. So what I want you to think of when you do a problem like this is you graph each of these separately. So first let's just take a look at negative x plus y is equal to 1. All right, now there are different ways to graph a linear equation. Really there's 3 different ways to think about it. You could just simply do a t-table and pick values to plug in for x and see what you get for y. But honestly, the easiest way to do something like this, let me get rid of that line, is to solve for y. So to get the y by itself on one side of the equation, I'm going to add x to the left and add x to the right. Okay, now on the left, the x's cancel, and I have y equals, and I can write that as 1 plus x, but it's easier when the x comes first, so that would be x plus 1. Now what you'll notice about this equation is the slope is always the number times the x value when it's solved for y. You can't decide that until you solve it for y. And what's in front of the x? A 1. So we know that our slope m is 1, and slopes are best written in fraction form, and so anytime you have a whole number, you can always put that over 1. Now my y-intercept is what you add or subtract at the end. So that's your b, okay, which means your y-intercept is the point 0, 1, because b is just the y value of the y-intercept, and the x is always 0 for a y-intercept. So I'm going to go ahead and plot this in red. So if my y-intercept is 1, I make a dot at 1. Now to get a second point, I could do what the slope says, and the top number is up, down. If it's positive, you go up. So we're going to go up 1. The bottom number is left, right, and if it's positive, you go right. So right 1, and I do that from my y-intercept. So I count up 1, right 1. And if you're graphing this on the computer, you only need 2 points to graph. So, I plot my first point and my second point, and automatically this line is going to pop up, and I'm being really careful to make this line super straight with a slope of 1. So, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1. You see how all those points are on the line, and I could also go down 1, left 1, down 1, left 1, down 1, left 1. You get the point. All right. Now, in blue, let's graph the second line. So we have 2x plus y is equal to 10. And I want to solve for y again. That's the easiest way to graph a straight line. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides of the equation. My 2x's cancel there. I have y equals. Now I could write that as 10 minus 2x, or I could write it as negative 2x plus 10. And let's do that same analysis. So what is my slope? My m is negative 2, but it's always best to make that a fraction, so I'm going to put it over 1. Now what does that mean? The negative can either go with just the numerator or just the denominator, but it can't be both. It's not negative 2 over negative 1, right? It's say negative 2 over positive 1 or positive 2 over negative 1. If I leave it like this, I'm going to go down 2. The negative means down, so down 2 and right 1. But from where? Well, I need my y-intercept. So my y-intercept is right here is 10. B is 10. That's actually my B value. So my y-intercept is 0, 10. So that's the first thing I want to do is mark my y-intercept. So there it is up there at 0, 10. So now I count down 2, right 1, and that will give me a second point. And if I were graphing that in Newton-Alta, that would be enough to sketch the line. But I'm going to keep going down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1, to make sure I am doing a good job of graphing this, especially graphing the way I'm doing it on the computer, okay? But all you need is 2 points in Newton-Alta. And then the final step, you'll see a green dot in Newton-Alta just sitting off somewhere, and that's your intersection point, and it wants you to put a point right on top of where those graphs cross, and you have to name it appropriately. Now remember, your x always comes first, and then your y. So notice your x is at 1, 2, 3. My x is 3. And where is the y? Looks like the y is up here at 4. So, you know, you see it right there where your x is 3 and your y is 4. So that's my answer, 3, 4. And again, this green line there is not really, there we go. Okay, so you see that? I hope that helps you out, but if you run into more questions